Hello and welcome to Insights from Elsewhere podcast. My name is Cynthia Portugal. I'm Brazilian and I live in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm the growth director for Insight Platforms. Insight Platforms is an online media business that helps researchers find new tools, learn how to use them, and then see what's coming next in the industry. We host a directory, run conferences, and create content for insight professionals. We actually created this podcast to understand how professionals in insights area are working in Latin, Asia, and Africa, and elsewhere, apart from the big markets of North America and Europe. We want to understand how they are doing research, what type of challenge they face, what's their experience with research technology, and curiosities and nuances that makes those regions unique. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to Rafael Cespedes from Chile. He is the CEO of Provokers in Chile and also a representative for Isomar in the area. Welcome to Insights from Elsewhere podcast, Rafa. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's my pleasure, Cynthia. Thank you very much for inviting me to this nice chat. I had a chance to listen to others, and you are making amazing work with this podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rafa. It's very good to hear a compliment from someone like so important in the region for the insights business. Tell me, how did you get into market research?
Oh, last years ago. Like many other people in the industry, I didn't plan it. I am psychologist, but when I finished the school, I started to focus on social psychology and also clinical with patients. During the school, I have this kind of freelancer work as an interview for a market research company, but I didn't see it as a career. My first job was in marketing, but working for a clinic in healthcare marketing. And in some moment, something happened. This kind of thing that changed your life. And my first daughter was on the way, and I lost my job. And a very good friend from the school invited me to work in the company that he was working. That was a marketing research firm. Today, I don't know what could be the name of that for the different acquisitions, but was TNS in some moment.
Okay.
And I start to work on this area. I get in love, but not with the technical area. I get in love with the work as a psychology, trying to understand the consumption dimension of the human being. Something there that I saw at that time, I was trying to explain to myself what I'm doing here. And the answer that I found I start to understand the human being as an emotional, contradictory, and cultural phenomenon that was amazing or fascinating to try to understand. And I am not worrying 33 years after. And something that I can say that I learned during all these years is the context matters. It's something that you never must to lose. You must to look at the whole phenomenon, not only the focus one. I'm trying to get a good question for doing my job.
That's amazing. And what is unique about Latin America?
I am a lucky guy. During this year, I had the chance to work in different countries for the different companies that I had the chance to work for. And I think I have a very nice picture of what we are. First, we are not just a market at that. We are a collection of different markets. If we're talking from marketing side, but we are a collection of different cultures, different language. We're supposed to be Spanish speakers or Portuguese in your case.
Yes, please.
But mostly of the Latin America speak in Spanish. But when you try to understand a Chilean like me from a Mexican guy, maybe they don't gonna understand too much because our Spanish had a lot of slang is impact for the local culture, and our Spanish Chilean is very different from the Mexican, for example. It's what we have as unique that I can say that is
Yeah.
very common, including the Brazilian, is the
Yay.
contradiction. We are incredible, sophisticated contradiction people. We can make a very high level decision, a very complex process of decision, but many times what we said is not what we do. I think the context again impact very in the moment that we are think we are not a planning people. We live the present. Think it's something that is very common between us.
Yes.
I think that the consumer in Latin America is evolving very fast, much more that we can see normally. Now we are more connected with the rest of the world, and we are learning very fast as a human being what's happened. This couple of weeks we have a very bad example of that. I don't know if you hear about of this school violence thing that the guys start to write on the bathroom that I'm gonna kill everyone and these kind of things to stop the classes and go back home and move faster like that. And in a couple of days, in all Latin America, the people was running the same. And this is something that we must be very aware that today the connection with the world is impacting in our day life. And I think that we can talk a lot about the commune and the differentiation on this one, but
Yeah.
I think the most important is we are not just one market. We are integration of many different cultures. The immigration is helping us to understand more what's happened with other culture, but it's still something that we need to keep studying to understand.
Yeah, that's true. I did a lot of research in all countries in Latin, and it was so funny to understand that even things that we thought, even the food is completely different between countries and between regions and stuff, and language as well. So many times I went to Argentina and people would say, "Where is your Spanish accent from?" And I was like, "From here. I learned with an Argentinian." And still it wasn't good enough. So I understand you and all about these differences and contradictions too. Yeah, we are very complex people, to be honest. And thinking about business in a business context, what do the global teams often misunderstand about the region? What they get wrong, to be honest?
Oh, it's a very interesting question. I hope that my clients that are listening this podcast don't going feel bad for that, but it's a reality. And sometimes
Yeah.
we receive I have a chance to watch the pan-regional studies, and we see how they collapse Mexico, Chile, Brazil as a Hispanic market, and we know
Yeah.
that this category doesn't is not useful for analytic units. Second, I think they normally confuse this infrastructure with sophistication. People here, as I said before, we can be very extremely sophisticated in our decision-making process for the local situation, and we have access with our phone a very little limited data in our phone, but we must to use this information to make our decision. The biggest global mistake, I think, is not the data, is the interpretation. And for that, the locals here, we are here to help. And our clients, locals, they have this amazing task on that. One example that think is come to my mind right now is the global trends that are amazing
Yeah.
job that the companies do in their headquarters. They need to be adapted because the reality in our countries are different. We need to understand how those global trends live in our life, sometimes have different timing, and it's necessarily to understand when they must to take what. Then the third and the last one that came to my mind is the global teams. They assume the global standards are the right ones, and sometimes they lose that the local have different and sometimes betters. I hear a lot of clients, local clients, that say they don't understand me. I try to explain them that is the local condition, and well, we're moving in an uncertain context normally.
Yeah.
We learn, or we must work in a different, with different kind of complexity, as we said. But at the end of the day, I think this is a strain. It's not a bad thing. It's not a gap that we need to close. It's something that we must work with less tools sometime, and we develop different kind of glasses to understand the reality.
Yes. That's and do you have any good story that you can share about a misunderstanding about our region or about Chile? You don't need to mention names or companies,
No, no
anything.
problem. I am not compromise myself with the clients. I remember a case. I don't know if we are not yet there, but we're gonna be. We're gonna
Yeah.
need use diaper in some moment of our life. It's again.
Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately.
I
Yeah.
remember in some moment that in Europe and in the States, and the adult, we were running this adult panty, this new kind of diaper, and those markets were very nature to talk about that. They have advertising on the TV. The people talk about this. It's a hard topic, but and they try to run the same down here, and for us was taboo issue.
Yeah.
And now it's different, but 10 years ago or 20 years ago was a very different situation. And they request to us that in a focus group, the people must to try on the panties
Oh my
to
God.
talk about what they feel. And it was a very hard situation because the half of the people and on the focus group stand up and say, "Sorry, this is too embarrassing to me. I am not going to do that," and they stand up and move out. And
Wow.
and the client was in behind the mirror, and we have to explain them that you are asking something that we explained early. It's so hard for the people that have 60 years old talk about that. We had these
Yeah.
people in the focus group because we got a review advertising. But when they tried to do this, was to intromission, to deep inside of the personal barriers, the normal barriers. And we have a lot of the story, this kind of stories that someone are funny, someone not. This is not funny. That was
Yeah.
very, very shame one on that.
Yes, I can imagine that. I wouldn't be like to be the one moderating this focus group because it was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And thinking about those, like you gave a few examples, and do you have any other examples of how the personality of the Latinos, the Latam region, affect the research and insights field?
I think we are. I told you about that. That what we said is not what we do. This is something that is very interesting. That I think we need to, in that in some cases, what we really need to know what the people do. We must to be on the field. We must to be at home, be with them and the store. I think that the Latin try to be very political correct when you make
Yes.
a question. Then when we have this kind of question of are you are you agree with that or disagree with that, they try to give you a more an agree answer, and for that we need to have a triangulation to try to understand that, having observation in field conversation, trying to mm, talk about experience, know what you think about it. This kind of things impact because the people, it's not that they want to lie us, but they need to feel that they are accepting and what they are saying. For that is very important. Don't matter the techniques. We need to get this confidence, this trust when we are working in this kind of area. I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yes, yes,
yes,
but
yes.
it's really a point. I remember when I was working in London and I was doing this satisfaction research in, I think it was 20 countries all over the world. And then I got the results. I don't even remember the country, but it was like satisfaction of 70%, like on a scale of 1 to 10. And then 70 in Brazil is like, this is very bad, because if Brazilians like, they will rate it 95 or 100. Like 70 is the PT grade. Like, and then everyone else in the group, I was the only from Latin America, they understood it was a good result. For me, it was really bad. So I had to change my mindset, because whenever I looked at a scale, I would always think about, okay, good is above 8, even if it's a 10-point scale. Or we don't use 10-point scale in Brazil anymore. Like, I haven't seen one in years just because of that. So you need to change the way we think and the way we analyze data depending on the context of the region. For example, if you see an 8 coming from someone in the UK, you say, wow, that's amazing. They love it, because they will not get to the 10. They will
Yeah.
always say something is not that good, but it's okay. So I think this understanding helps a lot. And but when you don't know, it's so easy to get looked in those kind of differences of responses and stuff. We could go on with many examples about this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's so.
Rafa, tell me about quality, because I think research quality, data quality, is something that everyone is talking about. We saw this in ESOMAR Latam a few weeks ago, and this is a hot topic in this moment. So, what is the reality of data quality in the region?
Okay, you are asking the question. I just going to answer, right?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
yeah. That's the point.
yeah, I think I'm gonna start talking about the quality of, as I said, the people, the normal people, the people that's walking the street, they don't wanna tell us lies. When we make a question, they want just to answer. But the problem today is that we monetize this thing. And today we have people that is trying to make money on the platform that we have today to work on. And I think the panels today have the online panels, that is the more important tools that we are using in the region. They have, in some countries they have a problem of representation. It's correct. They are working on that to make better. But the main issue is the fraud that we have now. As we saw in the States, I don't know if you remember this case that
Yeah.
1 year ago, or maybe two, yeah, that some company had this fraud of millions of dollars on that. I'm not talking just about. I think the bot is something that
Yeah.
we are living with, and we are developing different kind of defenders, some strong techniques to live with. But also the humans, some humans are learning how to pass the filters and make more money at that. And in a country that the people live with very strict budget, this kind of thing help them to do that. And we must live with that. We must work on that. It's an imperfection that we need to keep working on that. I think it's very important that we be transparent with that. In our company, we decide to be transparent with that with the clients and show to them KPA on these kind of things. We have a chance to identify so many of those fraud, but some happen, pass, and we need to review again. Not sometimes, many times that the clients in global, they say, but you finalized the field work yesterday. Why will you don't send me the results tomorrow? Because we need to supervise, we need to check the system. I think this is something that we need to keep working on that. When we run the old fashioned, we have the same kind of things that we need to be
Yeah.
very clear on that. I don't want that people trust our work. I think it's something that we need to keep and work very hard. Is keeping the trust in what we do. And for that, it's important that we understand that we have bias, we have issues like that, but we are aware and we work on that.
Yes, I think that's the most important too. Because, yeah, as you said, we always had fraud somehow. Even when it was door to door in the past, this is something that we always had, like, but I don't know with you, but I remember in my days in agency, like, a lot of years ago, more than 10 years ago, and doing paper questionnaires, we always had this sample that we would call the person to check if it was the person, the address, to get a sense if the questionnaire was really responded correct and everything. So what we need to do is to do the same thing with the not just bots, as you said, but we also have the professional respondents. And before it was more difficult for them because they would need to be picked by someone knocking on doors. Now it's different because they can go around the internet and find service to respond to and earn money with that. So we need to be, I think, double careful when we're analyzing the data. And I think that's where the experience is important, knowing about the market and everything. Because when you see some data that doesn't look right, if you investigate it, you will find that something is not right. But you only know that because you have experience, because you know the country, you know the habits. If you don't, you won't be able to pick up those nuances, right?
And now we have chance to have more data from the people, and then we
Yeah.
have this, we can cross this data and use to be more confident of what they can. I have a story, this is funny one. when i
Yeah.
start when I start working on that, we used in the qualitative side, we used to have this kind of ladies that try to catch the respondent and invite them to the focus group. And I had a group that we need one more people, one more person in the room. And those ladies go out on the street, and she catch a man that looked like the target. And she said, you have time, we have a very nice reward for you if you participate 1 hour in a meeting. And this guy says, yes, I have time. Okay, you must say that you drink this kind of soda and you have the, and the guy start to laugh and say, okay, no problem, I can say that. You don't need any other information? No, I don't need any other information. And the guy went to the office and said, and called the person who was in charge and said, please fire this girl. He was the general manager of the company.
Oh my God.
This
That
kind
was
of thing,
very unlucky for her.
yeah, well, was a funny one, anyone, because they must take care. They cannot do this kind of things. And today we have more control on this kind of issue.
Yeah.
But at those times, that things happen always.
Yeah, I had fieldwork interviewers buying products and delivering to their neighbors so they could interview the neighbors afterwards and to ask their opinion. That
It's
happens. That
the
happens.
creativity of the Latins.
Yes, they are, right? Well, and thinking about the evolution of research, like what has changed in the last years that like in Latam that changed the way we deal with insights with research.
I think we have a lot of changes, and I think are not littles, are structurals. If we look at that, I'm trying to organize my idea on
Yes.
that
Yeah.
because there are so many changes. Imagine that when I started doing that, we didn't have computers, each one, and there didn't exist the cell phones. And okay, I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
start on this century. Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
move on
Yeah,
this
yes.
century.
The most
Uh,
recent
the
years,
most
maybe.
recently, I think, at the last 15 years, we saw a lot of different changes. We moved from the focus on the techniques. I think was something that was very important. I remember these three words: faster, cheaper, and better. Faster and cheaper,
Better.
and everybody want to reduce costs and automatize, but in different moment of that. But on those time, we were the provider of data. Mostly of us work for giving data to our clients. And after us, another consultancy came to the room and analyzed this data for the business. Uh, Later, we must to try to get into the room in some way, and I think mm, we still are on this movement. Uh, someone, someone of us can say that I am in the room when the decision happened, but not everyone can be there.
Yeah.
But it's something that change what we do, because we are not only on the data side, we are connecting the dots for the business in the main room. And this is something that change what we do, how we must be prepared, and we must understand much more about the client business than the techniques. This is and today we can the technological side is moving in some way and keeping us learning how to do our job. But today, after uh, the AI
Yeah.
appear, I start to change many different things. I think the speed is something that move us very fast last
Yeah.
year, and and today we are in a new stage, and I think the velocity is not the focus of the change. We are on it on it right now. Now is recovery the deep and understanding is something that and we're going to talk about technology. For that, I'm trying to not go there because
Yes.
it's obviously will be in this conversation. But clients today, they are very exciting and scared at the same time, like all everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
As I said, that the clients are, as all of us, are a little bit scared about of these big changes that we have, and they want to know how we're going to use the AI in our job. And in Latin America, is sadly, but the clients go faster than us, and they are using AI like a corporate tool, and we still mostly of us are using the ChatGPT or cloud, but the personal tool and not as a corporate. And it's something that is making is amplify the gap between clients and us, and they are seeing they believe in some one of them that they can do our job internally, and this is something that impacted all the industry, also on the talents. They are stealing our talent and they are taking our guys because the internalization of
Yeah.
insight or the research job is something that is happening. Yesterday, I watched a video of SMR where they were showing the result of a global study,
Yep.
where the internalization of our job in the client side is growing and something that we must be aware of that. But why of those is because in some countries we don't have the technological or the tools for that. Some global providers like the big companies, or they used to be the
Yeah.
big four, they are making big changes in the headquarters, but they don't have the tools yet in our countries. And the poor guys that had to put the face on the client side, they say, we are working that in our headquarters, but you must wait a little bit. But the clients cannot wait. They need the answer now. Sorry, I moved to other, but when
No, it's all
you ask
right.
about those changes, I think we are in a very shaky moment on the
Yeah.
industry. A lot of things are changing, a lot of things in different areas, but we know how to live in this changing world.
Yeah, we are used to complexities. But yeah, you said something very, very interesting. I worked in the client side too, in Unilever and JDE, Ernest and Young. And in the most recent years, there was this pressure: do more with less, less people, less money, less everything. But the level of quality of insights they wanted from the CMI teams was much higher because they wanted more data with less inputs, like less investment, less people. And this was getting so common, and a lot of people in the CMI industry in the client side were more frustrated, tired, and they couldn't get ahead of things and learn about the novelties and stuff because they didn't have the time to do it.
Yes, it's correct. The tension between those requests that you said are very important. When the company requests now today, the request is use AI and reduce 20% of your budget. Oh,
That's
okay,
it.
happy to do it, but how? I don't know how to use AI. I'm a marketing researcher inside of the company, and my providers, my suppliers, they don't have that. How we can do
Yeah.
that? Today we are in a new stage. Now
Yes.
we have opportunities to do that. This is not a selling pitch today. I am not going to do that with you, but I think we are founding. We found how to answer that today, and the biggest client already know that. That not only us, I'm saying the middle-sized company, we
Yeah.
have today access to technology, but we need to invest, and the client must understand that we need to invest to to bring to them a real solution for this request. And today we need infrastructure for our business. It's not just to use what you have on the market, because what we have on the market are tools that help you in some different part of the process. And the
Yeah.
marketing research have a long journey from the start to the end, and we need to cover all this process. Today, I am so happy that with my team, we complete EI process end to end. We have a very good support, technological support, guys from India and the States.
Yeah.
So this guy live in Germany, and they are giving us this amazing support that we build something for. Um, and today I'm working with my 150 colleagues on all Latin America that we must to change our mindset to use this AI native environment to work with the clients. And I really believe that this change is not about technology. This change is about of culture inside of our companies, and of course inside of our clients' company.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be at the end in a very good mm, moment. Uh, I I think we as a researcher, as insiders, we're gonna have a very good position in the next few years,
Yeah.
because the information is still very important and going to be in the center of the business again in our client side. They are looking for a one true source They are the
Yeah.
walls between silos of areas. And the data that we used to recollect for cells, for now, everything must be in the same place and must to be integrated for that. This is a big change of the industry. Yes, it's a big change.
Yeah.
And I think the clients understand that they can't do this by themselves. They need us as a partner, integrating, understanding, making the interpretation of that, connecting with the people that is outside the streets. And I am very glad that the future is coming will be very nice. But in the process, we're gonna lose talent, we're gonna lose business, the industry going to uh, polarize. Some people that are going to sell a cheap stuff, only data, and other that are going to be very involved with the clients. We can talk about the future, of course, but the
Yeah.
future, we are in charge to make this future possible. We are
Yeah.
not here to watch how the future come. We must to be involved on this, and I'm challenging all the times to my colleagues to do that. We need to be the protagonist, the main actor on this movie.
Yeah. That's amazing. Did you notice any changes in the type of questions the client ask you, like from 10 years ago to now?
Absolutely, the clients.
What is the difference?
Well, 10 years ago, they came for with a question about of may we launch this new product or may we launch this advertising? And the process for us was very standardized, and we came back with the answer. The consumer,
Yes or
they
no,
said yes or
right?
no.
Yeah.
We can explain why and these kind of things. Today, the clients came to us with a very complex question because the world is very confused. And I think our first role is challenging the brief and talking with them, trying to find what is the business question, um,
Yeah.
not the decision that they must take. Is let's talk about the issue, let's talk about the problem, and let's found the question together. Because when they used to come 10 years ago, they came with the research question. Today, we need to
Yeah.
understand the business question, and it's something different. And some clients already understand that, and they came with the business question and say, we need to make this decision, and we can work with. And today, something is happening that in my early time, they bring you the brief, very detailed, with a lot of
Yes.
details, and we develop the proposal, they approve it, we run it and they supervising, and at the end we came back with a report, one project. Today
Yeah.
they work with us during the process. They are in the kitchen with us cooking, not only supervising. And I think one of the most important thing is when we are trying to understand an issue, we we must to bring how they're going to use the result. Not only that, with
Yeah.
some time we finalize with an exercise trying to use the result of that. The you asked me for the question. I think the question is our main. We must to be worried about the question, not the answer.
Yeah.
The question is the most important thing in our business. We must to learn how to understand the question of the clients, because all the rest we can do it from ourselves. And the other thing is very important, that the question from the client side must to come with context. Again, the context again is part of the thing. If we learn, if we are aware of the context, because we work with them every day, will be easy to understand the question and get the solution. And one other thing that is changing from the clients, they don't expect that we give an answer of this question only in a project. They want to connect with different projects that they have. Today, we are working with them as a system, not as a project. We,
Yeah.
is that
Yes.
is clear or not? For that,
Yes.
I must to manage all the rest of information that they have. For that, we developed that platform that we can add all the study that they have, and we can connect this information for them, and also they can jump in the kitchen, jump in
Yes.
the platform, and they can make this data inside. And today we can do this with a conversation. We don't need to have a technical knowledge. Just you ask to the brain of this system, this kind of system.
Yes.
Remember the last tracking results where we defined that the pillar of the brands are those. This new study, how add value to those pillars. These kind of things. We are building a
That's
knowledge
amazing.
system. It's amazing how
Yeah.
this changes. We saw
Yes.
these kind of things on the Somar event in Rio. So many companies are working in that way today.
Yeah, and in the end of the day, I think it's the way to go. Because if you think about a tracking study, like back in the days, we would have the study, we would have the attributes to explain why the brand is good or bad evaluated, right? But when you think about context and you bring on external factors, even news or other projects, other things that you know, and even sales, pricing, the tactical points like sales and pricing and how they affect how the brand is behaving and what is going on, we see a much more robust and actionable insights afterwards. It's not just, okay, I need to work to make this satisfaction score or branding evaluation go up. I need to work to make my brand more loved or more bought, more purchased. And that's it. In the end of the day, we are looking for money, right?
Yeah,
Selling stuff. So
right.
it helps with that. And with all this context, what is happening with the market research talents in the region?
Well, I told you some of this during the conversation. I think we have the impact of the context today with the talent are I can differentiate in three different levels. The senior levels, we are losing a lot of talents because the clients are trying to taking them, stolen them, because they think that they can internalize the job. But no, all the companies are ready for inside lead. They need to change the organization for that.
Yeah.
This is one thing. Other is in the lower level. Um, as we talk in Brazil, also we are losing the craft of our business, and in the craft we used to prepare those and the new people that came to the industry, and we learn how to teach them in front of the computer, in front of the data sheet, explaining them how to do this, how to do that. Today, those guys came prepared to use software. They can run a McDiff analysis. They can manage AI software today. But if you ask why they must do this one or this other, don't expect a very good answer because they don't understand the business. They understand tools, and I think that we are getting this two during the last couple of years. I start to see there's two layers, senior and the lower, are getting growth, and the middle side that for me the middle layer that for me is the most important one, the people that understand what we do and they know how to do and also they manage the tools, is getting thin. It's getting thin and going to be thinner in the time. And this is a leverage that we have today in the industry. And also we have other kind of people that have a very good talent that for this technological moment that we have, you can be living in Sao Paulo and working for the UK, like you.
Yes, someone like this.
And like I know a very good talent in Mexico, in Colombia, in Chile, in Argentina, that they are working for global companies or receiving very good money for doing what they do in their home with their kids. It's something that we must live with, and it's another changes. They can get very good talent for less money, and you can be very happy with living with this new scenario. And we are in a moment that we need to reset our talent mindset, as I said,
Yeah.
to prepare them for this new scenario. I take this like a flag of
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot in different speaking at the universities or in other companies that invite me to talk for my experience, that we need to change our way to prepare the guys. We need to build communities. 1 week ago, we launched this Connect event of SMR, but for young people. I Next
Yeah.
Connect. The first one was in Chile last week, and this is going to be moving around Latin America, but with the idea to bring those communities like the Yes community, the Yes Society that have a smart, this young SMR society, but we must build those locally with the idea to and learn from them, and also start to define the new industry that is come, because they must to
Yeah.
define. We must to open the space for that. I am leaving the industry in a few years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be grandpa the couple more months. I'm very happy, excited about that. I'm gonna spend more time with them, with my grandsons, and I think they must to take the next step. That I think that the new generation, and we must be open on that. And I am not scared about that. I was scared about the new generation. We study a lot of gens, the C gens, but today I'm very confident that they're gonna make an amazing job because they're more connected with people. Sorry for the F millennials that they make us scared a little bit, but the new generation came with other brain prepared for.
And I think it's our job to actually help them get there and prepare them to fill in our shoes when we are not working in the industry anymore, right? So it's part of what leadership means, like preparing the next generation,
It's true.
teaching, helping them get through the things and knowing what's important in the industry. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. And thinking about the technology like AI, the new shiny tools, what do you think are like real good and add value to the daily work? And what are the things that are only hype? They are shiny tools, but they don't add
Yeah.
a lot of context in your day.
Like everything, this was a trip, a journey. What we have today is not what we had a few years ago. When my partners give me the task to found the new technology that we need to connect with AI, we we could see three different. Now I can say that
Yeah.
those moments didn't. That we have three different moments. The first was exciting. A lot of new technology. We can scale our job. The second
Just by
was,
pressing a button.
yeah, just pressing a button. And the second one was frustration. The technological is the demo is not what we receive. It's like you buy something in Temu or AliExpress.
Yeah.
the demo was amazing, but when you try to use locally, you don't receive the support, only help for this kind of study, and you're paying money, you're spending time training the people on that, and you get very frustrated on that. Um, and today we are in a new stage with a better tools, and we must decide what we need to use because we cannot have everything. Uh,
Yeah.
I have a person that you must interview some moment that is Tronic Johnson. C. She work a
Yeah.
lot in this kind of things, trying to understand the the technological things. You ask me about of what I think is today's work is working for us and it's not a hype. I think the we if I have to take the AI platform, I can say some of them work better in our job. Today, Claude is amazing if you are working alone. You can do almost everything. Is those guys make an amazing job. I am a
Yeah.
psychologist, as I said, but today I can develop a very great quantitative analysis. I can develop a software to analyze things, only telling what I need.
Yeah.
But I need to advise to my colleagues that this is not the end solution. This is the entry solution. This is something that you can learn with that. We need to be professional and develop our own tools for that. That was our path, our journey. We understood that we don't gonna find the magical solution on the market for everything. Maybe for some stuff. Our job is we are a full service market research company, and we must to develop something that worked for us from the beginning, from the project to the delivery. And for that, finally, we develop our own solution. That the name is dialogue. Because when we start with that, we start using like a conversational AI things. But what we learn on that is we must to define our business. It's not a, it's what we really do and what we really need to do this better. Today is not when you are in this hype situation. Some
Yeah.
question that help you is say this tool going to make faster our work, going to make better interpretations. We must to see how going to work for us, know what the seller explained to us. And we need time to prove to try on. It's very important. Don't spend too much money in different tools. Go try to understand how you gonna dress your business with new stuff. Don't do it the other way. Don't keep a lot of new stuff in your dressing room. If you need to use it,
Clean up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Clean up, and only leave the stuff that you really need. Take today technological software service excellent, and for us, maybe this work for us, not for others. We define that we will be as a service company with
Yeah.
AI tools. This was our definition, and we need to create tools that help us to be that. Today, with our closest clients, our biggest clients, they know that they can send us an email and said, I have this question for my boss, and we can answer this question with the real data behind in the same time because we have all the information that they share with us, and we can connect the question that they have with all the study that they have. Maybe in my answer, they're gonna say we have blind space here and here,
Yeah.
and you must decide what we're going to do. We need to run a new project, to fill the blank. Um, but the insight as a service is a way is something that for us is working. Maybe it will be different for others, but for us it's working right now.
Yeah. And how do you see the future of research and insights in Latin America? How does it look like?
I'm gonna give you two answers for that:
Yeah.
the realistic and the optimistic.
I love both.
Both are part of the reality today. I think
Yeah.
the realistic is in the next 5 years we're gonna see a lot of business missing. We're gonna we're gonna see how many companies that we know they're gonna crash. It's something that's many of them gonna crash hard because they don't understand that they must change. But also we're gonna see new companies start to appear from nothing
Yeah.
because they understand what the client needs and they can move faster on this next couple of years. We have a new kind of companies, one person, two person, three person, that they move out from the biggest one. They understand the business. Is this middle layer that I told you that they move
Yeah.
out of the business? They have the knowledge, they can access to the new tech, and they can understand and move faster what the client needs. And they move out with clients. The client say, "I'm gonna support you. And we are seeing those kind of companies also. It's a reality. It's something that is happening right now. But the optimistic one is I can see that all the learning that we have of this complex Latin America will be a strange for us, will be something that going to help us to understand and adapt into the new scenario. We are learning the mistake of the people in other hemisphere. We are learning about of the issue that have the biggest one, and we can adapt very fast to these changes. And for that, I imagine that in Latin America, we're going to see so many changes, but the mostly will be good. I am trying to don't say it, name of the companies, but I meet some one of them in Rio, and you also meet them.
Yeah.
Some companies that maybe 5 years ago nobody know them, and today the biggest are scared. Well, because they are doing amazing, and we are seeing the biggest one, as I told you, that in the headquarters they are designing the moonshot, but locally here the guys cannot access to that for because are too
Yeah.
expensive, because they don't receive the training, because they don't have access to bring this amazing solution to Bolivia, to
Yeah.
to Brazil, to Chile, to wherever. I am, as I said a few questions ago, I think the future is bright. The insiders, not the researchers, the insiders that
Yes.
have the capabilities to integrate the information of the client will be the bright star inside of the client side. And our partners in the client side going to be very important inside of their companies because they're going to bring the new truth of the reality on this new kind of system that they are developing internally. And we must be brave to bring this proposal to our clients, to show this future to our clients, because if we don't do that, others going to do. And today,
Yeah.
big consultancy firms like Accenture and others, they are bringing those solutions to our clients, very expensive, but they are doing. And we can do this better because we know how to do that. Or
Yeah.
technological companies that are coming with new solutions, they don't know how our industry work. We know. And we can go first and design the solution. And then we can go and buy the technological side. We, the governance of the data is something that we must to take in our hands. We don't. We are. If we freeze him for fear, we're gonna lose these fights. We must to be brave, as I said, prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
So sorry, and we must to go forward, showing that what we know is what they need. We have the power of that, and we must to believe that.
Yeah. Yes, totally agree. Wow, a lot to think about, Rafa. Now, Rafa, what's your favorite research methodology?
Maybe the people are listening are going to be very agree with me in Latin America. I think that when you go to reality, I'm talking about ethnography. I think that
Yeah.
you be in the reality, you understand the context of you with the observation, listening to people, watching what they do, learning about what they do in the home. When you get in the house, you feel the smell. You understand that they have a smell different in the living room and in the kitchen, and they are 2 feet away, but they have different smell because they're using different products because they want to create a new environment. These kind of things you are not going to learn from a questionnaire. I think
Yeah.
that the be in the reality, be in the store, be in the is something that we are not going to change. I used to love the new questionnaire way to do that, but today I am back to the basic. I think the conversation is something that we don't to lose, but we need to escalate that, and for that, the new techniques with the AI conversation that you can keep the deeply, but now you can make bigger and faster.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But if I need to choose one, I think ethnography will be my favorite on the market.
And what is the coolest innovation in the area?
I already said, I think that the AI conversation tools are amazing
Yeah.
because we can keep this deep and nice conversation. Today, when you talk with those avatars and the avatar follow your narrative, they don't need to follow like a bot, question by question after question, like a bad interrogator. In how you say that in English when you make a question like question, like the police making question for
Oh,
you. Inter
interview, not interview,
like
interrogation. Interrogation.
interrogation. That is the word. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like interrogation. But today, those AI conversation tools, you prepare what you are looking for in a like a brain, and you bring 3 or 4 open-ended question, very open question, and the respondent told you the story that they want to tell you. What is important? What is really important for them? And you have another question to go deeply in some uh, thing that for your study are important. But you are having a very real conversation where you are learning from the other in the right way. I am very surprised. You can hear my voice that this new solution are giving us back to the basic in the last century when this industry start. Remember the TV
Yeah.
show, and
Yes.
they run those focus group, and they have this real conversation about of products, deeply conversation. That's we are back on that, but we can talk with thousands of people at the same times. This week we launch a project Friday with 3 nutritionists,
Wow.
and yesterday we finalized the study with a lot of new information from them because never we had this chance to talk with them in that way. And they explained to us how they feel respect to the healthcare environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they feel that they are the poor brother on that. And now we know how we can help them. It's because the normal question that we run with them is how you can be useful for our industry. And now we ask what you need, how you feel. And they talk and explain and put passion in the answer. And we are using this passion, not the rationality that we get on the question. I love this new moment, but we need to
Conversation.
learn how to use it. This is very important.
Yes, for sure. And to close down, Rafa, what is your advice for newcomers in the industry?
One simple, learn to ask the question. Don't think until you must be the best analyzer, because today we have tools that are going to help you in that. But if you make a mistake on the question, oh, for that it's very important that you help to your client to make the right question of the business. And then you must to transform this question in the research question. The question is everything in our industry. Is what we do. The analysis is just what comes after, and we have a lot of help for found that. But the question is something we cannot lose.
This is amazing, Rafa. Thank you very much for being part of the podcast. Thank to everyone listening to it. So today we talked to Rafael Cespedes, and he talks about the contradictions and complexities of the Latinos, Latin American people. He talked a lot about the role of insiders in building the future of research and the evolution of clients' role in their participation in the process of the projects. And he talks a lot about insights as a service too. So a lot to learn for the region. Thank you so much, Rafa. It was really great to talk to you. Thank you for coming to our podcast.
Thanks for the invitation. I really get fun on this conversation, and sorry if I speak too much. If you invite me, you know what I'm going to receive. Sorry about that. And I have a final idea that I need to say it because it
Yes,
come to my
of
mind.
course.
Is when you said about the newcomers. I have a final thought for my colleagues that don't forget that if the insights don't change the decision, there's a not real insight. It's a decoration. We must to be sure that we are a agent of change in our job. It's something that I need to push on that. We are not decoration. We are
Yeah.
agent of changes. Thank you, Cynthia, very much, and see you soon. I
Thank
expect.
you.
Take care.
Yes, see you soon. Bye.